Welcome to another Treasures for Life ministry video. I'm going to be reading a book for us, doing it chapter by chapter. Now, I'm going to start with chapter 1. And the name of this book is Not One Stone Upon Another, Just Like the Jews. So I'm going to open this book and we're going to read this quotation that's here. It says, every structure must be built upon a right foundation in order to stand. And this is taken from Testimonies for the Church, Volume 5, page 563. I'm going to skip the page again, show you the table of contents here. Okay. And over here, we're going to look at the author. And it says, much of this work has been compiled from the writings of Ellen White, gathered in one place by Dr. Lila Reiswig. So there you have it. All right. So now we are going to be reading. So it's chapter 1, and the title of chapter 1 is The Fall of Jerusalem and the End of the World. And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, see not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Matthew 24, verses 1 and 2. Christ told the Samaritan woman at Jacob's well, salvation is of the Jews. Yet, in Matthew 24, when shown the buildings of the temple, he made the startling reply, there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. This statement filled the disciples with awe and wonder, and they desired to understand more fully the meaning of his words, saying, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? Great Controversy, pages 24 and 25. The disciples' connection of the fall of Jerusalem with Jesus' second coming and the end of the world was reinforced by Jesus' reply. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let him which be in Judea flee into the mountains. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Matthew 24, verses 15, 16, and 20. So Matthew 24 is obviously a twofold prophecy, part of which was fulfilled in AD 70, and part which will be fulfilled at the end of the world. Christ presented before them an outline of the prominent events to take place before the close of time. His words were not then fully understood, but their meaning was to be unfolded as his people should need the instruction therein given. The prophecy which he uttered was twofold in its meaning. While foreshadowing the destruction of Jerusalem, it prefigured also the terrors of the last great day. Great Controversy, page 25. As we think about Jesus' twofold prophecy, we cannot escape the logical conclusion that the part involving the end of the world would also involve a second Jerusalem. Our end of the world last day prophet saw that this was so, stating that Jerusalem is a representation of what the church will be if it refuses to walk in the light that God has given. And this is from Testimonies for the Church, Volume 8, page 67. She also saw that the Seventh-day Adventist Church was in danger of becoming that second Jerusalem, for they were fast following in their footsteps. Many of our people are backsliding from God. We need to arouse every soul that has named the name of Christ, depart from iniquity. We want a pure Christianity. Great dangers are lurking for us on every side. When they most need the presence of God, many have it least. They are in danger of becoming like the Jewish nation, who knew not the scriptures nor the power of God. Like the teachers of Israel, you may explain Bible truth to others and yet not practice it in your daily life. If the Jews had possessed an experimental knowledge of the scriptures, they would not have been ignorant of the power of God. Like them, we have great light and privileges, but many do not respond to these, and herein lies their peril. When Jesus wept over Jerusalem, his tears were for all who abuse present privileges. He wept that so many who profess his name fail to become what God designed them to be, that they continue in sin and weakness while he is willing and able to save them if they will but come to him. The Savior says, "What more could I have done that I have not done in it?" He has dealt with his people as a loving father with a wayward and rebellious child. But he sees grace resisted, privileges abused, opportunities slighted. Where he had a right to expect earnest, vital piety, he sees insincerity, hollow formalism, and Pharisaic pride. Review and Herald, November 2nd, 1896. The sin of ancient Israel was in disregarding the expressed will of God and following their own way according to the leadings of unsanctified hearts. Modern Israel are fast following in their footsteps, and the displeasure of the Lord is as surely resting upon them. Testimonies for the Church, Volume 5, page 93. The same disobedience and failure which were seen in the Jewish church have characterized in a greater degree the people who have had this great light from heaven in the last messages of warning. Testimonies for the Church, Volume 5, page 456. Each of the ancient prophets spoke less for their own time than for ours, so that their prophesying is in force for us. All the great events and solemn transactions of Old Testament history have been and are repeating themselves in the church in these last days. Selected Messages, Volume 3, pages 338 to 339. The Jews claimed to be God's people. They were blessed with great light. The Seventh-day Adventist Church claims to be God's people. They have been blessed with great light. Satan was successful in leading ancient Israel into idolatry. I found Israel like grapes in the wilderness. I saw your fathers as the first ripe in the fig tree at her first time. But they went to Baal Peor and separated themselves unto that shame, and their abominations were according as they loved. Hosea 9, verse 10. Satan is also determined to lead modern Israel into idolatry, and modern Israel is in danger of being led into idolatry. Satan is working that the history of the Jewish nation may be repeated in the experience of those who claim to believe present truth. Selected Messages, Volume 2, page 111. Modern Israel are in danger, greater danger. Modern Israel are in greater danger of forgetting God and being led into idolatry than were his ancient people. Testimonies for the Church, Volume 1, page 609. If modern Israel is following in ancient Israel's footsteps, modern Israel needs to know what those footsteps were. And that's the end of chapter 1 of Not One Stone Upon Another by Dr. Lila. We will send the other chapters so you can subscribe and like and share. Now, what are we getting from this? The same thing that happened then will happen again. Nothing new under the sun. Wash your robes, make them clean in the blood of Christ, and wake up, for your redemption draweth nigh. We thank you for watching another Treasures for Life ministry. Maranatha, Jesus is coming soon. Be blessed.